I was surprised at how many people in the comments were trying to decide between getting a Mac or an iPad. I'm used to comparing iPads to iPads or Macs to Windows PCs. So here we go, the iPad Pro versus M1 Macbook Pro Smackdown. Hello, my name is Brad Colbow and I review tech for creative professionals. This is a Smackdown video and there are rules. We take a look at some products category by category and we decide which is the best. We look at categories like hardware, performance, software, what's it like to draw on. And the rules state every category needs a winner and this video needs a winner. At the end of the day, I must decide which one of these is a winner. Why do I do this to myself? I don't know. I guess this is my idea of fun. Hopefully by the end of the day, you're gonna be able to get some information that's gonna help you decide which might be the best for you. So with that said, let's take a look at the competitors. In this corner, we have the new M1 MacBook Pro running on Apple Silicon. For years, Apple's computers have run on Intel's x86 architecture like most other laptops on the planet. What makes this one special is that now Apple is making their own processors based on ARM's architecture, which we usually see reserved for phones and tablets. Tablets, like our other competitor today, the iPad Pro. This is Apple's flagship iPad. The largest size you can get is a 12.9 inch. It's the biggest iPad on the market, I assure you. Nowadays, you can even snag one with a Magic Keyboard cover or even attach a mouse to it, and it feels and acts more like a traditional laptop. As always, I review tech for creative pros, so I'm going to be judging these from that angle. So let's start with the category that is near and dear to my heart. Which one is best for art? If you want to draw on the iPad Pro, you need to buy an Apple Pencil. That's $129 for the second-gen Apple Pencil. If you want to draw on an M1 Mac, you need to get a drawing tablet. That'll range you anywhere from $50 to $3,000. And for the first time ever, the Apple Pencil looks like it's reasonably priced. Now this is an easy one for me from the standpoint of which one is going to win this category. I'm going to give away the trophy early. It's going to the iPad Pro. Here's why. 1, the Apple Pencil is great, but 2, I haven't had a lot of success getting drawing tablets to work on the new M1 Macs yet. That's going to come. In time, there's going to be software, drivers that are going to get recompiled to work better with these new Macs. But right now, we have to be patient and wait for some of those software updates to catch up with the hardware. Now, I have seen online, several folks have said that they have had some luck getting their equipment to work with these M1 Macs, whether it's an XP Pen tablet or display or Wacom's Intuos tablets, that sort of thing. They have got those working. However, I think if it's a core part of your workflow, if you are using these drawing displays every single day, I think it's probably better right now just to wait a little bit longer. We're going to start to see drivers pretty soon here in 2021. So for now, this category is going to the iPad Pro. But the other category that really plays into how good something is for art is the software. So let's talk about that next. When it comes to art software, this is a win-win. On the iPad, there are a lot of good, solid, professional apps nowadays. Procreate is my go-to drawing app. It's very affordable, only $10. It's a one-time fee, and there are dozens of other great drawing apps out there. Art Studio Pro, Clip Studio. You can even get the Adobe apps that are kind of scaled-down versions of Photoshop and Illustrator if you have a Creative Cloud subscription. On the MacBook Pro, of course, you have the full Adobe apps, a ton of software to choose from. The real difference comes from all the other things you could do on a Mac, and those things can be hit or miss on an iPad. Once you get past the straight drawing experience, you might start to miss these things. If you want to do video production, something I do a lot of, obviously running a YouTube channel, can you do that on an iPad? Yeah. Sure, but it's going to be a lot easier on a Mac because it's just easier to move files around, create directories, and software. Premiere Pro, Apple's Final Cut Pro, they can do so much more than what you can do on an iPad. And this applies for a lot of categories. You can do 3D work, you can do CAD work on an iPad too, But if you're working in a professional environment, an iPad might hold you back. Now, one thing I did think with these new M1 Macs is that software makers are gonna have to go in and rework their applications to work with this new architecture. What Apple's doing in the meantime as a placeholder is they're using some software, some translation software they call Rosetta 2 to take the old software and make it run on this new architecture. Usually what that means is your software is gonna be slow, but I gotta say, running some of these apps, even like video processing in Premiere, using Photoshop for some pretty heavy tasks, it ran really well. I did not notice much slowdown at all. So this one is really hard to say that one software ecosystem is better than another software ecosystem because really they're just so different. This one's hard, but I'm going with the Mac. That is my answer for this category. If we're talking about pure drawing, you can make a case for the iPad, but the whole experience, the whole thing, I think we have to look at everything. It's going to the Mac. What about vector drawing software? Which platform is better? Well, today's sponsor wants to make that choice a lot easier for you. Amadine is a vector graphics app available for Macs, iPads, and even iPhones. It has everything you would expect in a professional vector graphics program. Its interface is super clean and makes it very easy for pros to just jump right in while still being user-friendly for beginners to pick up quickly. There's a lot here. All the vector tools that you would expect, like the pen tool, pressure sensitivity for drawing, but also distinct effects like drop shadow, outer glow, blurs, more stuff like that. Typography tools that make creating layouts a snap, and of course, color fills, overlapping fills, gradients, and countless other options here at your disposal. Now, the feature that I really liked here was the variable stroke tool. Usually if you're drawing, if you don't get the pressure sensitivity of your stroke just right, you have to redraw it. Here, you can go to the place where you want the stroke to be thicker or thinner and just tweak it. It's great for experimenting with different styles and thicknesses without having to redo a whole bunch of your line art. Both Mac and iPad versions have no subscription plan, which makes them a long-term acquisition. The free trial of the Mac version can be downloaded on the website and purchased from both the website and the Mac App Store. The iOS versions are available from the App Store. So check out the link down below in the description to get the Amadine app today for your platform of choice. And I would personally like to thank them for making today's video possible. Performance. Now this is an interesting category because for years and years you could say, hey, if you want raw performance, the old Intel chips were the way to go. Now if you wanted battery life and you wanted power efficiency, hey, maybe then you go to a mobile device, an ARM chip. But these new Apple M1 processors have turned this on its head because now you get both. First, the new M1 Mac has surprised everyone with how much performance you are seeing out of these chips. They are really rocking the benchmarks. I've seen some people say, hey, Apple should just put the M1 chip into the iPad, and they kind of do. The M1 is basically an A-series chip we see in the iPhones and the iPads, but with some Mac-specific controllers included. In fact, the Mac Minis that Apple was lenting out to developers after their software conference over the summer was using the same A12X Bionic chip that we were seeing in the iPad Pro. So I think when people are saying that, what they're really saying is, hey, can we get some of the RAM options, or can we get some of the graphics cores that we're seeing in those M1 chips come over to the iPad? And in time, I think we're gonna see that more and more. The thing about talking about pure performance is that the M1 is going to win. These benchmarks beat out the A12X Bionic, but this is where the OS and the platform are important. The iPad OS just doesn't use system resources the same way that the Mac does. So even with 6 gigabytes of RAM in the iPad Pro, it's really going to kick butt with drawing programs, even more intensive things like video editing and that sort of thing. Exporting 4K video, it can do it pretty well. When I'm using my iPad, I almost never see lag. When I'm using my Mac, I don't see lag that much, but occasionally I get a beach ball. And that doesn't really have to do with how much horsepower the processor has. It has to do with how much of that horsepower these apps need to run. But at the end of the day, this category is performance. So there's no debating that the M1 Macs are more powerful than the current iPad Pros. So with that said, M1 Mac, congratulations, you're winning this category. Best hardware. Oh, usually this category is easy. You just look and see which screen is better and then check a box. But these devices are very different animals. Of course, the screen on both of these look great if you're a fan of the higher refresh rates. The iPad is rocking 120 Hz Pro Motion display that looks beautiful. Which design you prefer really comes down to preference. You could get the Magic Keyboard that turns your iPad into a laptop form factor. It's really nice. I enjoy typing on it, but if you spend most of your life typing on a keyboard, you're probably still better off going with a laptop. It's just more durable, and the key press function feel is just a touch better. This is one of those categories it's really hard to judge. I guess the good news here is if you like brushed aluminum devices, Apple makes the best in the world, and both of these are really top of the line in terms of build quality. I guess I'll go iPad Pro for now. The new M1 Mac wins the processor war. Fine, but that's just the processor. The rest of this laptop is the same as the last version of the Mac Pro that Apple released. Although, I guess the new iPad is the same exact iPad that Apple released before, so you could say the same thing. Okay, you know, I'm just gonna... iPad, you're the winner. Just take your trophy. Let's get to the next category. Price. The iPad Pro starts at $800 for the 11-inch. The MacBook Pro starts at $1,300. So if all you care about is price, there you go. I should point out that the MacBook Air is only $1,000, and if you want to get a 12-inch iPad, it's about the same price. Also, if you want a keyboard, the Magic Keyboard cover costs $300 extra, so you can balance this price category in various ways depending on what options you want to get. It's interesting to me that when people do talk about price, like an iPad, people will say, oh wow, $1,000 for a tablet, that's ridiculous. But if you say $1,000 for a laptop, people are like, yeah, that sounds about right. I think for what the iPad is becoming and what the iPad Pro is, it's not a bad deal. It is a very good computer on its own. And with a higher refresh rate, better camera, Apple Pencil support starting at $800, I think the iPad is the better price value here. There, I said it. There we go. Okay, winner of this category, iPad Pro. In conclusion, since I do review tech from the perspective of an illustrator, it's gonna have a big impact on how I rank these. If I was looking at this with my YouTuber hat on, I would probably reach a different conclusion since I spend a lot of time writing and editing videos. If I was doing more graphic design, I still think the desktop is the way to go. The Mac is more versatile because of font management and file management and just downloading assets and organizing things. It just seems to go a lot smoother. But the winner right now is the iPad Pro. As an art machine, it is my go-to drawing tablet. So congratulations, iPad Pro, you done good. I should point out that I use both of these devices. In many ways, I still use the iPad as a companion device. I spend my entire day on my MacBook, and then when I need to draw, I grab the iPad, do a little something, push the art over to my Mac, crop it, put it into design or a thumbnail or as part of an animation. So what do you think? Let me know down below in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you in a couple of days.